What's up to all my people? And welcome to Stoniecast number 107 and season 4, episode 5 of Thoughts and Hunches, Making Money in Bunches, and Sucker Punches. It's your boy Stony, back for the 107th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow lowlifes, scumbags, hoodlums, shady characters, anybody named Phil Mickelson, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, cheats, hustlers, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics with abusive language, friends and family of the gooch, fienders, and degenerates. If you're new to the show, hey, you probably fit into one or more of those categories, so welcome aboard. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner, so that way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's very easy. Just tell all the other fienders you know to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page so you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have a few thoughts. Let me start with the shortening of sports terms to try and sound cool. What am I talking about? Well, the term natty to describe the national championship is just flat out lazy and wrong, because I've always thought of the Queen City of Cincinnati as the natty. That drives me absolutely bonkers. Please, the natty, it's the national championship. Oh, we're going to go to the natty. No, you're going to go to the national championship, right? And championship, the ship. We're going to the ship. We got to get another ship. Or is it a chip? I don't even know what it is anymore. Everybody's trying to shorten everything, right? But those things drive me crazy, but not nearly as much as the term tutties. It's a touchdown, people. I don't want to hear you say Lamar Jackson had 3 tutties last week. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. The term tutty. If you ever hear me say tutty, you can call me out on it, and I will no longer give you another video as long as I live. If you can think of any others, shoot me a message, and I'll shout you out in next week's episode. While I'm on that, you can't give yourself a nickname. For instance, I didn't give myself the name Stony. Stony was given to me. It was Stoneface, shortened to Stony. That's fine. You can't just add a Y to the end of your last name and use that as not only a nickname, but when you refer to yourself in the third person. Sorry, Ricky Henderson is the only one who did that and did it well. Ricky gonna do this because, you know, the only way they can beat us is if they keep Ricky off the base. Because once Ricky gets on base, Ricky gonna steal second, Ricky gonna score runs, and Ricky gonna disrupt. That was Ricky. That's what Ricky does, right? You can't hit a 7-team all-favorite money line parlay on a $2 bet and use your last name and refer to yourself in the third person and brag about it. Sorry, it just doesn't work. Nobody cares. All right, plain and simple. Pro athletes' wives, I understand you're part of the team that made your husband successful, but please stop making yourselves the story. Matthew Stafford's wife has never seen a camera, a story, a tweet, or anything that she doesn't want to be a part of. Netflix had a great documentary, executive produced by Peyton Manning last season, called Quarterback, and it chronicled a year in the life of Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and Kirk Cousins. It was fascinating. It was really cool to watch. He says nobody that he's approached this year wants to do it, with one exception, Matthew Stafford. How much you want to bet that his wife leaped at the opportunity to have cameras in their home? And yes, Patrick Mahomes' wife as well. She's another one. That's why Mahomes was on the show last year. Stephen Curry and Brooks Koepka's wives are 2 more. Now, in a way, I can give them a slight minor pass because Koepka's wife is a model and Curry's wife tries to do her unsuccessful cooking thing, but they still put themselves in front of the cameras whenever they can, and they make themselves the story. Sorry, ladies, nobody cares about you. We only care about your husband's health and whether or not they're going to deliver on game day, especially when I've got money on them. Finally, staying on the Chiefs topic that Mahomes was just a part of, does anyone else have Travis Kelce fatigue? I do. Great player, Hall of Famer. Now he's on more commercials than Mahomes. How's that even possible? He's everywhere, and it's absolutely exhausting. The fight for your right to party chant last season was enough for me because you cannot besmirch the Beastie Boys like that, right? And make it a cool thing 40 years, 35 years later. Sorry, right? That was just too much, right? But now I can't watch anything without him showing up everywhere. Plus, throw into the mix the Taylor Swift dating rumors now, and I've officially gone over the edge. I like Taylor Swift. Yes, I said it. She's talented, she's good looking, and extremely intelligent. She's not a billionaire by now. She certainly will be soon. You can do better than Travis Kelce, Taylor, if you're watching. I know you're not, but one of Taylor's handlers can show her this. Travis Kelce, no. Even the safety from Jacksonville was talking about them last week, or talking about him last week, saying that he thinks he's better than everybody else, and it's just not gonna. He's bad-mouthing other players, and whatever. It's just Travis Kelce fatigue. Sorry, I've got it. Okay, last week was a wild one for me as I hit the Thursday night NFL game. Now 2-0 on NFL Thursday nights, but missed the college football game. On Friday, I went 1-2 in college and was 1-3 in college starting Saturday. The way that I bet and track my wagers are in quadrants based on the start time. In the noon Eastern kickoffs, I went 1-4. That took me to 2-7 for the 3:30 Eastern starts. 2-7. I was furious. I said, you got to be kidding me. This has the makings of a long day. To say that I was unhappy would be a spectacular understatement. But the beauty of so many wagers is that there's always a time for a comeback, and boy, did I ever deliver. I went 12-2 the rest of the day to make my day and week, including another degenerate special winner to close the weekend. 14-9 college weekend. 14-9 after staring 2-7 in the face. That's very good considering where I started. NFL Sunday was up and down as I went 4-4 in the morning, 3-1 in the afternoon before missing the Sunday night game for the second straight week, bringing my record to 8-6 for the week. Monday night's 2-pack of plays left me 0-1-1. So 8-7-1 NFL Week 2 isn't all that, but it certainly held our profit from Saturday. So that's now 4 straight winning weeks to start off the season. Here are the numbers. Last week, 22 wins, 16 losses, 1 push. 57.89%. That's solid. You're welcome. NCAA football on the season, 45 wins, 36 losses, 1 push. 53.45%. That obviously needs work. NFL, 19 wins, 12 losses, 1 push. 61.29%. Yep, that's top notch. And overall, every pick I've given you so far in the first 4 weeks of the season, 64 wins, 48 losses, 2 pushes, 57.14%. Solid. You're welcome. I mean, hey, I can only, just keep saying you're welcome enough, or I can't say it enough. Please remember that all of these picks are 100% free. For all the touts that give you 75 to 80% winners, come on. First of all, we all know you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for these picks. With me, just come to YouTube every week and I'll drop my plays on you for free. You can also follow me on X at Stony Woods, STONIE Woods. Let's start. Here we go. Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN in Conway. As 2-1 Coastal Carolina's a 6-point home chalk over 3-0 Georgia State. Coastal lost their opener in Pasadena to UCLA before bouncing back with 2 easy wins, while Georgia State beat all 3 of the glorified high school teams they faced. Coastal is deeper and more experienced, so I'm going to roll with the Chanticleers at home and lay the 6.5. Also Thursday night, 8:15 Eastern on Amazon in Santa Clara. The 49ers are an even 10-point favorite over the Giants. SF is 2-0 with a blowout win in Pittsburgh and a closer than they would have liked win in La La Land over the Rams. The Giants are the story here, though, because after losing 40-0 to Dallas at home in their opener, they trailed 20-0 at halftime in Phoenix last week before turning it around in the second half by putting up 31 points to get the W. Still didn't get the cover, though. The problem is that they lost Saquon Barkley for a few weeks, which means he's not playing in Silicon Valley tomorrow night. The 49ers are one of the 3 best teams in the NFL right now, along with Dallas and Miami. The Giants aren't. Give me the Niners and lay the big number. Moving on to Friday, on FS1 at 7 Eastern in West Lafayette, 2-1 Wisconsin comes in as 6-point road chalk over 1-2 Purdue. Wisconsin's loss was to the only real school they played, while Purdue has played 3 real schools and lost 2 of them. I'll take the home dog here with the Boilermakers. 7:30 Eastern on ESPN in Charlottesville. 2-1 North Carolina State comes in as a big 9.5-point road favorite over winless Virginia. I had Virginia last week, and they allowed 42 straight points to Maryland while NC State was busy curb stomping Virginia Military Institute. I hate laying big numbers on the road in conference, but UVA has shown me absolutely nothing so far. Give me the Wolfpack, lay the lumber. 10:30 Eastern, Friday, in San Jose on FS1. 3-0 Air Force is a 4.5-point road favorite over San Jose State. The Academy has been impressive so far, but their level of competition leaves a lot to be desired, and San Jose State is 1-2 with losses to ranked Oregon State and last week at Toledo. This has the makings of a good one, and I'm going to roll with the home dog here, so give me the Spartans and the points. The last game on the board Friday night, maybe you can call it the Degenerate Special for Friday, goes at 10:30 Eastern in San Diego as 1-2 Boise State's a 7-point favorite over 2-2 San Diego State. Boise lost their first 2 games to Washington and UCF before tap dancing all over North Dakota last week, while San Diego's lost 2 straight to Pac-12 schools, UCLA and Oregon State, both ranked schools. Boise's better than most give them credit for, but I like the Aztecs and the points here. That's certainly the play. That's going to close out our Friday, so let's move on to Saturday. Sorry about that. Saturday, noon Eastern in Death Valley, 4th-ranked Florida State brings their perfect 3-0 record to town as a short 2.5-point favorite over 2-1 Clemson. This had the makings of a marquee matchup at the start of the season until Clemson got bitch-slapped at Duke in week 1. They've had 2 straight blowouts since then, and while Florida State beat LSU, who some people believe are a good team for some reason, and struggled in a win in Chestnut Hill last weekend, I just can't, in good conscience, take Clemson here. Even though this one has the makings of a trap, give me the Noles on the road. Noon Eastern on Big Ten Network in Ann Arbor. 2nd-ranked Michigan is 24-point chalk over Rutgers. Both schools are 3-0 and haven't been truly tested yet. This game is all about the return of Jim Harbaugh to the sidelines for Big Blue after missing the first 3 games, serving a suspension that he basically gave himself. The fans in the Big House will be exactly what we expect, and they will be, right? But Rutgers has been impressive, while Michigan offensively hasn't been. 2 good defenses and a 3.5 touchdown dog means take the dog. Give me the Scarlet Knights and the points on the road. Also at noon Eastern, we have Saturdays in the South with family, faith, and football, the 3 Fs. SEC right up the road, about 15 minutes in Music City, as 3-0 Kentucky enters as 14-point favorites over 2-2 Vanderbilt. UK has 3 easy wins over a couple of MAC schools in Eastern Kentucky, while Vandy's 2 wins should come with asterisks over Hawaii and Alabama A&M. Double-digit road favorite in conference. No faith in Kentucky on this end, so I'll take the Commodores catching the 2 touchdowns. Also at noon Eastern on ESPN and College Station, 2-1 Texas A&M is a 7.5-point home favorite over 3-0 Auburn. Neither team has looked good, and it just seems like every time I take A&M, they wind up disappointing me. So I'm going to take Auburn, even though they can easily lose this game by multiple touchdowns. Give me the Tigers and the 7.5. SMU and TCU meet up at noon Eastern in Fort Worth on FS1 in a very underrated rivalry that is both schools 2-1. SMU lost to Oklahoma and TCU lost to Colorado, so who wins this time? With TCU as a 6.5-point home favorite, I like SMU big time in this spot, plus the points, and I'm considering a money line play. But for now, I'll take the Mustangs and the number. Noon Eastern in the Queen City on Big Fox, 16th ranked Oklahoma, Noon Eastern in the Natty on Big Fox, 16th ranked Oklahoma enters as 14.5-point road favorites over Cincinnati. This Bearcat squad isn't bad, and Oklahoma just continues to be undervalued and just keeps on steamrolling opponents. Brent Venables has done a good job, right? Lincoln Riley abandoned them, jumped ship to go to USC, and nobody thought Brent Venables could do it, but the numbers they're putting up are pretty freaking astonishing. Until they get bit by the upset bug, I'm going to keep dancing with the Sooners. OU minus 14 and a chunk. We'll start the afternoon slate at 3, the next quadrant. Like I said, they go in quadrants. 3:30 afternoon Eastern in Stoniecast on ESPN2 is 20th ranked and 3-0 Miami's a 24.5-point favorite over Temple. The Owls have wins over Norfolk State and Akron, sandwiched around a loss at Rutgers, while Miami's only win of note is over an overrated Texas A&M squad, which I just discussed. The Canes will win this one and win next week at home versus Georgia Tech, and everybody in Miami will be dancing and saying the Canes are back and we're going to the Natty because they don't know what they're talking about, right? But that's when they begin their losing weeks, like they always do, at North Carolina, Clemson. Tougher games on the horizon. Like I said, Canes win, but Owls cover that big number. Give me Temple plus 24.5. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN in Lawrence. Kansas is a 9.5-point favorite over BYU in a battle of unbeatens. KU's beaten anyone of note, hasn't beaten anyone of note so far, and they struggled last week to put away a very weak Nevada squad, while BYU was busy winning as a big dog in Fayetteville last Saturday. I like KU's quarterback, Jalen Daniels, who's been electrifying so far. But 47-year-old quarterback from BYU, Keaton Slovis, he seems like he's 47. He's on his 17th school, which it seems like. He's seasoned, would be the proper term there. They won't win, but BYU covers the big number on the road. 3:30 Eastern in East Lansing on NBC. 3-0 Maryland enters a 7.5-point road chalk over 2-1 Michigan State. While I'm still not sold on Maryland, Sparty is just a mess right now, as head coach Mel Tucker was fired on Monday amid sexual assault allegations. I'll take the Terps and lay the number on the road, breaking my streak there of 7 straight dogs that I just gave you. 3:30 Eastern in Eugene on ABC. All eyes are on Deion Sanders. Prime time. And his night, yes, I will not call him Coach Prime. He's prime time. He'll always be prime time. And his 19th ranked Colorado squad has 21-point road dogs at 10th ranked Oregon. Colorado's taken the nation by storm. Pure and simple, Deion's done a fabulous job, but the wise guys aren't sold after watching them struggle over a really bad Colorado State team on Saturday night. Oregon's only real win was over Texas Tech, but if there's one thing we know, it's that the Ducks can score. If there's another thing we know, it's that Colorado can't stop other teams from scoring. They've outscored their opponents 174-7, that Oregon has, to 174-47. Colorado's kind of nice, and the only way they stay close is if this one is a shootout. It will be. Normally, I would take Shedeur Sanders here as he can deal, but everyone's going to take the points here because everyone's buying into Dion. I bought into Dion, but not this time. Give me the Ducks and lay them. 3:30 Eastern in Tuscaloosa. 13th ranked Alabama's a 7-point home favorite over 15th ranked Mississippi on CBS. Bama hasn't been Bama so far this year. They struggled to beat South Florida last week, and now they've got a quarterback controversy. The controversy is that they don't have one, period. Ole Miss is unbeaten and have looked very good offensively this season and have no quarterback controversy. They have a good one. Can you remember last time Bama lost 2 straight at home? Might happen here. Even if it doesn't, I'll still take Ole Miss in the points. Also, 3:30 Eastern on Big Fox in Salt Lake Stony. 11th ranked Utah is a 4.5-point favorite over 22nd ranked UCLA. Another good matchup in the Pac-12, 2 ranked teams that's going to fly under the radar because Dion. It's all anyone wants to talk about. Utah, it's 2 more undefeated schools, period, right? Utah sports wins over Florida and at Baylor, while UCLA has wins over Coastal Carolina and San Diego State. Quarterback is the question here. Will Cam Rising go for Utah? He hasn't yet, and Nate Johnson has done just fine, while UCLA came into the season with 3 quarterbacks. And you know what they say, if you have 3 quarterbacks, it means you don't have any. They finally settled on one, and true freshman Dante Moore from Detroit. He can run as well as he can throw. Utah's defense is legit, and this is a great coaching matchup with Kyle Whittingham and Chip Kelly locking horns. Right now, UCLA's offense is humming, so I'll take the Bruins and the points on the road. 4 Eastern in Ames on FS1. Iowa State's a big 3.5-point favorite over Oklahoma State in a Big 12 matchup. Iowa State is having offensive trouble and have lost 2 straight to Iowa and Ohio, while Okie State is 2-0 before getting inexplicably boat raced by South Carolina last week. I like the Cyclones at home here, so give me Iowa State minus the 3.5. Okie State just can't do that, getting blasted. It just makes no sense. 7 Eastern on Pac-12 Network in Palo Alto. 2-1 Arizona is an 11.5-point favorite over 1-2 Stanford. Stanford's coming off a 40-plus point loss to USC 2 weeks ago before my alma mater, the Mighty Hornets of Cal State Sacramento, Stingers up, knocked off the Cardinal last week. Zona's getting things together. A loss in Starkville 2 weeks ago to Mississippi State in overtime was avenged with a blowout win over UTEP last week in our 3rd straight degenerate special winner. Stanford's a total mess right now, and it's going to take another 2 years until Troy Taylor can get his arms around the disaster that the program has become. I like Zona here on the road minus the 12.5. 7 Eastern in Pullman on Big Fox. Another matchup of Pac-12 unbeatens. Another game that's going to fly under the radar. 14th ranked Oregon State is a 3-point favorite over 21st ranked Washington State in a battle of the 2 schools that nobody wants from what is now known as the Pac-2. These are the schools that everyone forgot, nobody wanted, and now they're both ranked. And they're both playing this week. So they should be given the respect that they deserve, period, right? Both schools have been impressive, and Oregon State should have the advantage based on their defense. But the Palouse Posse will be loud at Martin Stadium. So I'm going to dance with the Cougars here and the points as a home dog. 7 Eastern in Baton Rouge on ESPN. 12th ranked LSU is a 17.5-point favorite over 2-1 Arkansas. LSU's just not good. They showed that in their season opening embarrassment to Florida State. And while Arkansas got beaten at home by BYU last week, I think KJ Jefferson can make enough plays against the soft Chinese Bandit defense. LSU wins, but the Hogs cover. 7:30 Eastern on CBS, a matchup of Big Ten unbeatens in University Park has 7th-ranked Penn State, a 14.5-point favorite over 24th-ranked Iowa. The Hawkeyes play Ferentz ball, as their defense is a mirror image of head coach Kirk Ferentz. Ferentz, I've always called him Ferentz. Penn State under James Franklin always seems to be in the hunt until Michigan and Ohio State come knocking, and this year's no different. The whiteout at Beaver Stadium will be another level for the Nittany Lions, and as much as I like Franklin, that's just too many points to give Ferentz. Give me Iowa plus the 14.5. 7:30 Eastern in Waco on ABC, 3rd-ranked Texas enters as a 15.5-point road favorite over 1-2 Baylor. Normally, this is the kind of game that Texas shoots themselves in the foot with every year, and Baylor has been a force for the last decade in the Pac-12, but the times are different this year. Baylor is soft all of a sudden, and the Longhorns are loaded. Give me Tejas, minus 15.5. 7:30 Eastern in South Bend, the game of the day or night is on NBC, as 6th-ranked Ohio State is a 3.5-point favorite over number 9 Notre Dame. This is clearly the game of the year to this point, and while Sam Hartman was supposed to be the story for Notre Dame, it's the Irish defense right now that has garnered all the headlines. This is a very good Notre Dame team, very good, while Ohio State is its usual 3-0 at this point. They've been far from impressive. Head coach Ryan Day has never had a problem running up the score, but hasn't had the chance to this year. Notre Dame has not beaten Ohio State since Halloween in 1936. Granted, they don't play every season, but I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Irish as the home dog under the lights in front of touchdown Jesus. Notre Dame plus 3.5 in a statement game. 8 Eastern at the stadium formerly known as the Giant Ketchup Bottle on the ACC network. 17th-ranked North Carolina is a 7.5-point road favorite over 1-2 Pittsburgh. Carolina has Drake May, who's a top 5 draft pick on most draft boards next season. But Mac Brown's defense has been more than impressive. Speaking of defense, have you met Pat Narduzzi? It's what he does. Coming off a black and blue crosstown shootout loss to West Virginia last week, I think the Panthers have enough to keep this one close with the back door open. Give me Pittsburgh plus 7.5. 8 Eastern in the Little Apple of Manhattan on FS1. 2-1 Kansas State's a 4.5-point favorite over 3-0 UCF. I was all over this yesterday when it was K-State minus 6.5. I jumped on UCF. But now the Sharps have bet this one down 2 whole points because my money moves lines. K-State was one of my few L's last week, but they're a very good team that wants to give UCF an auspicious welcome to the Big 12 in the night's first conference game. Gus Malzahn has an explosive offense, leads the nation in yards per game, and yes, I like KSU, but UCF is clearly the play here as they start their Big 12 career with a cover, possibly a win. 10:30 Eastern in Tempe on Big Fox. Number 5 USC's 33.5-point road favorite over 1-2 Arizona State. USC's cruising in Lincoln Riley's offense with reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams just lighting up the nation. Zona State is a true disaster. I'll take USC and lay the big number on the road only because also at 10:30 Eastern in Seattle, 8th-ranked Washington's a 21.5-point favorite over Cal. Washington is one of the most underrated teams in the nation, even though they're ranked 8th. Michael Penix Jr. is right, with Shedeur Sanders as the most electrifying quarterbacks in the nation, not named Caleb Williams. But Penix has a pair of very good and talented wide receivers that he gets the ball to, right? Cows look better, and they've improved. The Huskies are going to roll here, and I go with 2 massive Pac-12 favorites on the late night. Finally, the Degenerate Special on Saturday night, in which I'm 3-0 this season, actually goes on Sunday morning, depending on where you live, as 1-3 Hawaii is a short 2.5-point favorite. Did I say 11, or is that midnight? That's midnight, yeah. Game starts at midnight. Hawaii is a 2.5-point favorite over 2-2 New Mexico State in Stony Lulu. This is an absolute shit show of a game featuring two horrible programs, and as bad as Hawaii is, I gotta take them at home, as the old adage from my boy Slick is to take Hawaii at home because the visiting schools are busy partying all weekend in Stony Lulu. I can't see myself ever laying points with the Rainbow Warriors, but here I don't have a choice. Give me Hawaii. How's 24 Saturday plays for you? Told you this would be a great week in NCAA football. Add those to 4 on Friday and 1 on Thursday. That's 29 NCAA plays for you math majors. Yeah, that's a lot. After all that, let's get to the NFL on Sunday. And we'll start at 1 Eastern in Cleveland, where the Browns are a 3-point favorite over Tennessee in a battle of 1-1 squads. In typical overreaction fashion, Cleveland looked like world beaters in shutting down Cincinnati in week 1, but the world saw them struggle on Monday night and hand a game over to Pittsburgh, who scored 2 defensive touchdowns. Tennessee struggled and got beat in New Orleans in their opener, but rebounded to knock off the Chargers at home in overtime on Sunday. Neither team's very good, and now Cleveland is without Nick Chubb. I love the Titans' defense. I'll take the Titans and the points on the road. 1 Eastern in Detroit. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites over the Falcons. These aren't the same old Lions as they showed in their season opening win in Arrowhead over the reigning champs. Last week they lost a thriller at home to the Seahawks, and now they face an Atlanta squad that's 2-0 following home wins over Carolina and Green Bay. Quarterback Jared Goff is the man for Detroit, period. While Atlanta's quarterback Desmond Ridder leaves a lot to be desired. Atlanta's a run-heavy team that relies on ball control offense with a defense that continues to play well. Ridder is the question mark, though. And what would be a great matchup if Hot Town had a reliable quarterback? I like the Lions here at home. 1 Eastern in Green Bay, the Packers are a short 2.5-point favorite over the Saints. The Saints. Jordan Love's proven himself to be pretty good as the Pack quarterback and led them to a win over Chicago in their opener before dropping a nail-biter on Sunday in Hot Atlanta. The Saints are 2-0 by a combined 4 points. And that's how it's going to be with New Orleans this year, period. Derek Carr is Derek Carr. He's okay. And the Saints are just that, okay. I like their defense, but I like the Pack here at home laying the deuce. 1 Eastern in Miami. Dolphins are 6.5-point home favorite over the Broncos. Miami's looking like the best team in football after 2 weeks with an explosive and extremely creative offense. The Broncos are a mess. The Russell Wilson-Sean Payton marriage just hasn't worked, and the Broncos' defense is awful, period. Give me the Fins here to coast. 1 Eastern in Stoneyappolis. The Chargers and the Vikings are a pick'em. Both teams are 0-2 and underachieving. I said in week 1 that there was no way for Minnesota to duplicate their success from last year in close games, and so far I've been right. I also said in week 1 that the Chargers are one of the best teams in the AFC, but are a 6-10 season away from head coach Brandon Staley being given his walking papers. Yeah, 2 possible train wrecks. Is it possible that before the season ends, Brandon Staley gets fired and the Chargers are calling up Jim Harbaugh? They should be calling him right now. They shouldn't even wait. I'll take him anyway right now, period. Yeah, Minnesota, sorry, not going there. I'll take the Chargers. 1 Eastern in Snoopyville in New Jersey. New England comes to town as 2.5-point favorites over the Jets. The Aaron Rodgers story just won't die, as everyone seems to know what the Jets need to do. The bottom line is that aside from a very good defense and a good young back, the Jets aren't very good. Yeah, they're home here against a winless rival in the Patriots, but New England has played Philly and Miami. Yeah, this is clearly a step down. Give me the Pats here and lay the short number on the road. 1 Eastern in our nation's capital, 1-1 Buffalo comes in as 6-point road favorites over the Commando Skins. Buffalo is still one of the best teams in the NFL, despite the fact that Josh Allen's a jagoff, whom I'll never forgive, period. Yeah, sorry, I've said period too much. No, I don't want to hear the text. I don't want to hear the comments. I ain't going to say it, at least anymore during this time. I'm just not going to forgive Josh Allen. Just not going to happen. Yeah, he was great last week against the Raiders, whose defense is softer than butter that's been left out of the fridge. And Washington has been solid with wins over Arizona and Denver. But now their level of competition goes way up. Doesn't matter here. Washington's a reverse turf home underdog, which went 3-0 last week. The reverse turf dogs did. And are 5-1 on the season. Give me the Commando Skins. 1 Eastern in Jacksonville, a.k.a. the home of Leonard Skinner. The 1-1 Jaguars are 9.5-point home chalk over winless Houston. Jacksonville's a very good team that has dominated the NFL with one exception. They can't beat Kansas City. They're 12-4 in their last 16 games. And that'll do that. But when 3 of those losses are to the Chefs, that constitutes a problem. Houston's a mess. Take the Jags and watch them drop the hammer. The last 1 Eastern start is in Baltimore as the 2-0 Ravens are 7.5-point favorites over Indianapolis. The Ravens are legit. Deal with it, America. They have ballers on both sides of the ball, and they're going to win the AFC North. Indy's rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson is still in concussion protocol, and I like him, but as of this recording, I'm assuming he's out. That means Gardner Minshew. That also means the Ravens roll. Give me Baltimore. 4 Eastern in the Pacific Northwest. 1-1 Seattle is a 5.5-point home favorite over 0-2 Carolina. Seattle's overrated, not that good. Carolina's a disaster. The Panthers on a short week and a very long trip spells doom for number 1 overall draft pick Bryce Young. I'll take the Seahawks. 4:25 Eastern in Kansas City. The defending champs, the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites over Chicago. We know what we got here. Great team versus bad team. Great team wins, bad team covers. Give me the Bears and all them points as the back door is wide open. 4:25 Eastern in Glendale. 2-0 Dallas enters as 12-point road favorites at the 0-2 Cardinals. Dallas is near the top of everyone's power rankings so far based on top-notch defense and a conservative offense that doesn't take any chances, but wins over the 2 teams that play in New Jersey and an extremely favorable schedule makes them posers. Just look at Dallas' schedule. They got the 49ers in a couple weeks and Philly a couple weeks after that. But where are the other roadblocks? There just aren't many in there. Arizona's not that good, but they cover numbers. And Arizona is a reverse turf home dog here. Give me the Cards. Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern, the Raiders are 1.5-point home chalk over the Steelers. If only this game was being played in the 70s, it might be interesting. Ken Stabler versus Terry Bradshaw, right? Oh, man. You know, John Matuzak versus, well, not versus, but John Matuzak on one side, Mean Joe Green on the other. Right? Incredible. It might be interesting. Pittsburgh got a gift of a win on Monday night despite an anemic offense for the second straight week, while the Raiders got steamrolled in Buffalo. This one looks like a trap, so I'll play the odds and gamble with the Raiders at home in America's playground. Another Monday night double play starts at 7:15 Eastern in Tampa as the Eagles come to town as 5-point favorites over the Buccaneers in a battle of unbeatens. Philly's not the same team that they were last year. And Tampa has found a spark in Baker Mayfield, of all people. Nobody can figure out how, except for my roommate who just, Baker, making plays. No, not Baker. 9 times out of 10, it's Hurts versus Mayfield. Give me Hurts. Not this time. The Bucs are a reverse turf home dog number 3. I'll take Tampa. Finally, the last game of the week is at 8:15 Eastern in Cincinnati as the Bengals are 2.5-point favorites at home over the Rams. This one's simple. Depending on Joe Burrow's health, since he's not as bad as they played, and the Rams have played way better than they actually are. Give me the Bengals at home. How's that? 29 college football plays, 16 NFL matchups. That's 45 for the week. Is that enough? Hey, if I keep giving you 57%, then I say absolutely it is. 25 wins this week is solid, right? That's what we're shooting for. Anything above that is just gravy, right? The closer we get to 30. But 25, 26, 20, 27 would make a statement. So, let's do it. Let's get after it, right? The next video will be next Wednesday. So until then, make sure that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. For me, the action is the juice. There's money on the streets. It can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Miss you, Gooch.